the model now is do whatever you want, and then when you get sick, you go to the doctor. Then the doctor's supposed to, solve your problems. Clearly people are recognizing now that that is not working, and the Western medicine is failing them. So thinking of the food as the medicine rather than the pills as the medicine, just that thought alone will change the way that you eat your food. So
hey everybody, it's Diane Gilman, formerly known as the Queen of Genes, but now the proud host of my own podcast, Too Young to Be Old, also the title of my second book. Today, I want to say that as I grow older, some of the tried and true statements where I used to say when I was young, oh, come on, this is so corny, they're true. And one of them is health is wealth. And why do you want to spend your wealth not taking care of your health, just to have to come back and use your wealth to get your health back? That is a truism. And Trevor Schmidt is going to talk to us about, I guess you would call it the shortcomings in Western medicine and how to marry that together with other solutions to create a much healthier, much happier, and much more longevity prone you. Trevor Schmidt, thank you so much for being on the show.
thank you, Diane. I appreciate you for having me here.
Well, let's start with the fact that, and here is something we can all relate to. You said for many years, your diet yo-yoed up and down in weight with very little physical success. Boy, I've lived that one out. So you created a plan and you said to yourself, it just ain't working, going half in, half out. I'm going to go all in and I'm going to create a lifestyle that breeds success for health and weight. Tell us how you did it, please, sir.
Well, thanks again for having me on here. And what I realized one day is that I was having some success, but then when I let down on my guard and I didn't follow the path, it would be up and down, up and down. So I'd gain weight, lose weight, I'd be healthy, I'd be unhealthy. Yep. And so I realized that in that it was really just a decision. It was a choice. And it's not hard to do the right things. It's just as easy to do the right things as it is to do the wrong things, or just as difficult for that matter. So I made the decision that what if I did all the right things? What would happen to my body? What would happen to me, to my mind? And I was curious, and I cultivated that curiosity to the point where I was able to continue pushing past those moments in time when we would decide to sacrifice. For example, it's my birthday, it's my son's graduation, it's Saturday, it's a Tuesday taco night, whatever the BS excuse is. Yeah. Right? Yeah. We all make these excuses to allow ourselves to cheat, so to speak. And so I just realized that in order to reach the goal that I wanted, the higher level, and resonate at a higher level in life, that you had to stop doing the lower vibration activities. You had to stop eating the food that was lower vibration and causing the issues in your body. Now, what I found with Western medicine is a trap. And it was designed by JD Rockefeller a long time ago. Wow. JD Rockefeller was the oil tycoon and, considered the wealthiest man in the world. And he realized that you could create medicine from petroleum, and the medicine would alter the body's functions. And so he hired a bunch of really smart guys to create these medications, and simultaneously he controlled. What? I'm sorry?
Like what? What kind of medications?
Pretty much all of the medications, even the medications that are in effect today, they utilize the base foundational petroleum chemicals.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the food that we eat today, if you look at them, there's chemicals in there that you don't recognize, right?
Oh, totally.
You
Yeah.
look on the bag, and it's like I'm just using this, like it says you're supposed to be eating a banana, but then there's 50 different ingredients in this so-called banana, right?
Yeah. Or
Or
you think you're so self righteous trying to go vegetarian. And I notice that all the meat substitutes
right,
for that are vegan have so many chemicals in
yeah,
them that they
yeah,
can't be good for your body.
right. It's
So, okay, back to Rockefeller. So, smart guy, good
mhm.
plan for him,
So
sustain your wealth.
yeah, he not only did he figure out the medications that he can create, he figured that's a big money maker there. So then that was when big pharma was made.
Huh.
Simultaneously, he also realized that in order to distribute the drugs, he needed distributors. And what better distributors than doctors? And so at the time, there was the natural path, or the people that would do the herbal medicine and heal people, the healers. And at that time, he utilized media to call these people conspiracy theorists or whatever the label was at the time to make it seem like they didn't know what they were talking about. So he labeled these people wrong. And then they promoted that, and over time, people believed it. And so now people believe this Western medicine model is the way to go, and that these people with letters behind their name are smarter than us, so we need to believe what they're saying. And they create
I would tell you honestly, Trevor, I think they're smarter than us, but I think that the Western medicine model is crumbling. I think that, and I'm just going to take from the point of view of New York City and the fact that they are so overwhelmed that I'm constantly told, and I only have a couple of problems. I try and do everything homeopathically for me. I don't want to take outside drugs. But you get at some of the best hospitals in New York 11 to 12 minutes with a doctor, and that's all. They're told they have to see a minimum of 60 to 70 patients a day. So if I have questions, if my pain has increased, it's my arthritic knee. If I want to know, are there foods I should eat? Um, any question like that, where I'm trying to marry Western medicine with a better way, a more natural way of making myself have less pain, have more muscle mass. They won't even talk about it. I ask about red light therapy. They're told not to discuss it. I ask about diet because my mother had terrible arthritis and ate a lot of red meat. They act like they never heard of it before. So I think for me, I would say Western medicine really narrows my opportunities for learning and growth when it comes to taking care of some of my own issues. And I constantly have to go outside it with no reinforcement. I can't go outside and study it, see the doctor, and say, hey, can we discuss red light therapy for my arthritic knee? Uh, yeah. Well, basically, my hospital doesn't want me talking about anything they don't do and can't make money off of.
right. It's a model. It's a business model. And as an entrepreneur, I can see the modeling and how it's how they make their money. And it's like I said, it's a trap in such that it's the sick model of medicine. So they won't actually speak to you unless you're sick. And so if you're not
Ah,
sick, they're not going to pay for you to even speak to the doctor. And so because of that, the doctors aren't there to make you healthy. They're only there it's managed medicine. So you hear these terminology, these words, it's managed medicine. And what that means is they're managing your problems. They're not solving your problems, they're managing your problem. So you said you had an issue with cholesterol. They put a band-aid on it by giving you the medication, and it keeps your cholesterol at a certain level, but it never addresses the problem of why you're getting high cholesterol. Nobody even asks that question,
No, they
right?
didn't. And I actually told them I was going to take care of it myself and my high blood pressure through diet. And I knew I was being terrible. I was eating sour cream, ice cream. I love creamy foods, lots of creamy cheeses. I just stopped it. I just went cold turkey. I stopped eating all of that stuff. And I came back 6 months later and with disappointment in her voice. My doctor said, "Oh, I already prescribed statins for you, but your cholesterol is perfect. And so is your blood pressure." And I said, "I told you, I had a runaway diet. I took care of it." So I think, my big interest now, and for much of the audience, is the longevity train. And how do you, in an atmosphere of Western medicine that just puts a band aid on the problem but never takes care of the wound itself, how do you get to that 100 mark? And you have tons of self discipline and you came to certain conclusions I'm dying to hear.
Right. So the the model now is do whatever you want, and then when you get sick, you go to the doctor. Then the doctor's supposed to solve your problems. Clearly, people are recognizing now that that is not working, and the Western medicine is failing them. So instead of allowing yourself to get sick by doing the things that cause the sickness, you have to preemptively change the habits that you do, because it's the habits and the patterns that we do on a daily basis that lead to the long-term problems. Now, in your generation, you were programmed to believe that we can do whatever we want, and when something goes wrong, the doctors will tune us up, kind of like we bring our car to the car dealership, right? And so your generation, that was just the programming. The new generations now, the younger kids, they're believing different things, and it's literally just the thought process and the way that you think about this stuff that will change the direction of how you manage your life. So what I mean by that is that thinking of the food as the medicine rather than the pills as the medicine. Just that thought alone will change the way that you eat your food. So right now, many people will eat 3 meals a day, and they call themselves foodies. They love the food. It's more of an entertainment rather than a nourishment. And so because of that, the consequences of that is that they were eating the food that wasn't really food. It was like decorations, right? They ate the crap that was decorated. It looks all pretty. They take pictures and put it on their Instagram, and it's amazing, but there's no nutritional value to it. And what happens when you compile that negativity for a long enough period of time, it builds up in your system. Now,
Well, there's a huge influx of cancer, 77% increase this year
mhm,
for under 50. And I always say the same thing because I have friends that have 3, 4 kids. I'll bet you those children have no idea that Chick-fil-A actually ever came from a live chicken walking around.
right.
There is so little relationship between where and what the animal's life was and what they're putting in their mouth and ingesting. It, tons of chemicals, bits of plastic. I mean, I can only be so careful, but my attitude at this point is, and actually, I've only had a McDonald's hamburger once in my life, and I thought, ugh, tastes like cardboard. What's the big deal?
Right.
French fries, I could way get behind. We don't know half of what we're eating. We don't know that McDonald's French fries are actually soaked in sugar water
Mhm,
so that when they're fried, they fry crispier, and at the same time, they taste better. And then we're all sugar junkies. You
Hmm.
don't even know there's sugar in it, but also the potato is white, and when it goes in your mouth, the saliva turns out to sugar.
Hmm.
So it just seems to me like what is easy, fast food as opposed to cooking, comes back on you and makes your life more difficult, as in getting all sorts of diseases and getting them a lot sooner in life than we expect them because we're not putting real nutrition in
Right.
our bodies.
Right. Well, think about it like this. Our body is a filtration organ. That's what we do. So even the air comes in, it gets filtered through the lungs, and we breathe off the waste. We sweat through our skin all the toxins. We filter out the blood through the liver and the kidneys. Our bowels, even, they're filtering. It's everything is filtering out toxins. So you have to realize that all disease is initiates from the toxins. And so we bring these toxins in through the air, through the food, through the chemicals, the lotions, the everything that we're consuming. It's all chemical laden, and so we have to filter that out. Now, just like a filter, if you can imagine a filter and water's coming through it, and the water has a little bit of particulates in it. You can see the particulates, they get stuck on the filter. That's great. That's what it's supposed to do. But if you have muddy water coming through, that muddy water, it filters out, but then eventually the filter gets clogged.
Yeah,
Make sense? And so now you have a
sure.
sludge. And so then you couple that with not drinking enough water, so you're chronically dehydrated, and you got less
That's
water
me.
coming through, more sludge, and then eventually your organs get toxic, or they get blocked up from all these toxins. And so we're talking like the kidneys, the liver, the bowels. When it gets blocked up, then you'll start hearing people, and that usually happens between the mid 30s and mid 40s. They'll start to have symptoms. So toxins lead to inflammation. The inflammation will lead to your symptoms. So that, and if it deposits in your knees, you call it arthritis. If it deposits in your kidneys, it's nephritis. If it's the liver, it's hepatitis. If it's in the the blood vessels, you have heart disease, right? But it's the inflammation from the toxins. So you have to figure out how to first cleanse out the toxins that are already there. So clear off the sludge that's on the filters. So clear that sludge off, and it allows for things to flow better. Then you have to then systematically decrease the amount of toxins that are coming into the system. And if you can
So
do
how,
that,
yeah,
if you can
how do
do
you
that,
clear out the sludge? How do
well,
you
there's
do?
there's yeah, there's lots of different ways to do detoxes, but your body will naturally
Oh,
detox
okay.
when you fast. So this is where intermittent fasting is a benefit, to where when
I
you're not
do it.
eating,
I
your
do it.
body, yeah, it'll
Yeah,
naturally
and
start to spill out the toxins.
I
And so,
really like it, and it's become part of my life. I can
right.
tell my body likes it. I'm almost 80 years old. I
Mhm.
don't need that much heavy food. But as we get older, we tend to think of food as reward. And I will
Right.
always catch myself, like on a day where I'm bummed out or something, like, oh, go ahead and eat it. You've had a bad day. You deserve it. No, no, you don't deserve it. That's just giving in to your worst habits. But
Right.
um, I don't eat any fast food. I eat almost nothing that's prepared on the outside. And my problem is I'm a horrendous cook. So every once in a while I really miss, greatly prepared foods, but I try to eat very direct food.
Mhm.
So pasture raised chicken, don't put much on it except salt, broil it, eat it. I
Mhm.
go way away from pre-prepared sauces, and it also has stabilized my weight. But I get criticized. Everyone's got a different opinion, and Trevor, that is part of the problem.
Mhm.
You will have a doctor who says intermittent fasting is terrible for you. You're getting all these raised levels of cortisol because you're telling your body you're starving it.
Right.
Okay, Trevor, what my body seems to really like intermittent fasting, but I get called out on it all the time. What do you like about it? And do you practice intermittent fasting?
Yeah, I've been doing intermittent fasting for a while now, and to be honest with you, it's like my body just it loves it so much that even when
Yep.
I want to eat breakfast, I'm just not hungry. I'll eat just because it's like the family goes out for breakfast and I want to join them for the experience. So eating is really just, instead of, you know, it's like an experience for me. But if when I eat for my health, then I have a specific pattern that I follow. And so that's
Which
the
is,
I do the intermittent fasting. So I won't eat breakfast, I won't eat lunch, and I'll eat between like 4 and 8. And and when I eat, then it's only going to be whole foods. And so,
yes, yes,
when they talk about processed foods, I just kind of clarification of what processed foods is. Anything that is done to the food to make it different is processing. So even if like the
yep,
simple basic stuff like cutting it up and adding seasoning, that's actually a level of processing that you're not doing. So the reality is you don't really know what they did.
yep,
And so the more of this whole food, so only like if you're going to eat chicken, just chicken. Don't go
yep,
buy it where it's like mixed up with a bunch of other stuff. If you're going to have the vegetables, just the vegetables. And if you're looking at labels and read in determining your calorie count, that means it's processed, because if it were packaged, it was processed.
yeah. My eating period is between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. because I
Yeah.
used to have terrible acid reflux.
Hmm.
And somebody just offhand said to me, "Well, that's because you eat late at night. You
Hmm.
don't eat dinner at 9 o'clock at night." So I honed it down to one meal a day, whole foods, like you said, not processed.
Right.
And I do one slice of health bread, vegan butter,
Hmm.
chia seeds, manuka honey in the
Hmm.
morning. That's my big treat.
Hmm.
Then I realized manuka honey
Hmm.
is going to translate as sugar in my body. So that's pretty much my last sugar intake.
Hmm.
And that is probably the one big carbohydrate, that one slice of bread. And then I will go for either vegetables, depending on the day, which feels really good to my body now, or I'll go for a whole protein, like I'm making broiled chicken breasts for lunch today. And you know what? If you ever, and many of you out there listening, have had a life threatening disease like I had breast cancer, you really value your life and your health afterwards. And it's unfortunate that Western medicine doesn't give you a road to go down to support that comeback.
Right.
Because part of what you have to do is get rid of all, I found it took a long time to get rid of the chemicals and the steroids
Yeah.
from the treatment. And you want to stay on that road. When you're almost 80, like me, you realize that you are in charge of your energy level,
Right.
your mental acuity, which to me comes from what you eat and
Hmm.
drink. Like, I can't believe people I see drinking 10 cans of diet soda a day. I just
Right.
have pure water.
Right.
I, you know, I think it has to make a difference.
Yeah.
So, you lost how much weight and how have you kept it off?
Well, I've been an athlete my whole life, and so I played soccer in college, and then after college, I stopped playing as much, and I gained weight because I kept. It was interesting when I was in college and when I was working out so hard. I felt like it didn't really matter what I ate or drank. I can party, I can do whatever I want
Yeah.
because I worked out so hard that I was still in shape. So that was the mindset. And then when I stopped working out so hard, I kept living that lifestyle, and then I started blowing up. And then, I didn't like that. So I got up to about, I think it was like 230, and now I'm around like 165. So, but it wasn't like I was dieting, trying to lose weight. I just did the right things, and life happened for me.
Okay, so Trevor, one of the big subjects out there roaming around in the medical community is longevity. And everybody keeps saying to me, "Oh, Diane, you've got such a good chance of living to be 100." My parents lived well into their 90s, my mother to 95, um, my aunt to 99. But on the other hand, cancer's shot way up. There's all kinds of pollution in the air. We're told in New York City not to even go out today. Don't even open a window. And the other thing is, too, I want to augment what I get from big medicine. So somebody gave me a red light therapy machine thing that I strap on my knee and use every day of my life. I use red light on all of my age spots for my, that is total vanity. I'm going to admit that. Oxygen therapy. Oh, please, somebody out there, take pity on an 80-year-old woman, buy me a hyperbaric chamber. I'm going to put it into the middle of my living room. I want it.
Right.
That is, I think, a great tool. Lymphatic system, yeah, I need some help there. And honestly, ozone therapy, never heard of it. But it all ties into longevity. And I do want to say something to everybody out there. Longevity is no good unless you are still getting joy out of life. And joy out of life past a certain age, I would say 60, is deeply married to what state your body is in. So now I'm going to leave it up to you, Trevor, as closing remarks. Yeah, we all say we'd love to live to be 100 or live forever, but not many of us are willing to put in the effort and the work involved. Talk to me about your view of longevity married to Western medicine, married to alternative medicine health.
Right. So again, in many senses, living longer is it's a mentality, a mindset in that, our bodies are constantly deteriorating, but at the same time they're rebuilding. And if
Yeah.
you can see yourself as an accumulation of these like 70 trillion cells, that these are individual life forms, and these individual life forms are constantly dying and regrowing. So now you have this belief that you're 80 years old, right? But the reality is your cells are significantly younger. You get all new blood cells every 3 to 6 months. You get all new skin cells every 7 to 10 days. You get all new bone cells. It takes about 7 years, but all of our cells, all of them in our body, are regenerating. So aging is when you break down faster than you can rebuild. So these other treatments that you're talking about, the hyperbaric chamber, the ozone therapy, the red light therapy, these are all meant to support your body at a foundational level. To one, the important thing is detoxifying. So if we can enhance the detoxification process, we can slow down the deterioration process and then speed up the recovery. And again, it's all just like a mathematical equation that if you slow down the breakdown, speed up the regeneration, then you can effectively have newer cells and it can become your new normal. And so when you talk about living a long period of time, it's nobody wants to live a long period of time, be in a wheelchair and not be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So the new word in the industry, they talk about health span as
Oh,
opposed
that's
to
right. Health span
lifespan.
instead of lifespan.
Right.
Yes.
So let's talk about the different treatments that you were mentioning. So like red light therapy. Red light therapy is synonymous to the benefits would be like going out in the regular sunlight. So you're getting exposure to the red light. Now the benefit of the red light is red light penetrates deeper into the cells, and it apparently affects the mitochondria, which is the energy producer of the cell. So it helps to produce more energy, which allows for the cell to then function at a higher level. And if the cell's functioning at a higher level, then you get less of the inflammation, you get better blood supply. It
Yeah.
also seems to help the collagen in the skin for that issue with anti-aging.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm attesting to that, truthfully.
Now, hyperbaric chamber or oxygen therapy, hyperbaric chamber is essentially a pressurized unit which pushes the oxygen into the cells. So then you hyperoxygenate the cells. So again, oxygen is utilized for every function of the body. And so interesting, and if you remember from biology, they said that in the Krebs cycle, where the cell takes oxygen and converts it to energy. And with oxygen, the body will produce 32 molecules of ATP, which is energy. And without oxygen, we call this anaerobic. So without oxygen, it only produces two molecules.
This
So
is why I need a hyperbaric chamber.
right,
I
right.
do.
And there's lots of celebrities that are using it, but the
Oh,
belief,
yeah.
most people believe that it's too expensive, or, and the reality is there's not enough businesses that are offering them at an affordable rate to where people can be using them.
My friend had developed weirdly a very, very rare cancer in her ear. And the tumor was taken out. And her surgeon directed her to a clinic that had hyperbaric, and she said every time she did the hyperbaric, she came out and she was in the best mood. Her mood was so elevated, and I know that sounds kind of shallow, but in a way, because depression hits older people so much, I think even that is about longevity.
Yeah.
You're in a better mood. You just are functioning better, looking forward to life more. Yeah, I definitely need a hyperbaric chamber. But talk to me about ozone therapy. I've never heard of that before.
So ozone is also a form of oxygen therapy. Ozone is three molecules of oxygen, and so is O3. And when you expose the body to ozone, it seems to trigger certain reactions in the body, and it hyperoxygenates the system. So you can actually expose your body in numerous ways to the ozone. But they say that ozone is an oxidant, which oxidizes, which breaks down. But in that breaking down, it stimulates the body's natural healing response. So similar to when you go to the gym and you work out and you break down the muscles and you tear the
Yeah.
muscles, then the body responds by healing and becoming bigger and stronger. Same concept, but it'll affect the entire system with the ozone. So it stimulates that detoxification and healing process.
My dream for Western medicine would be that I went to get the gel shot on my arthritic knee, and the doctor sat down with me afterwards, the orthopedist, and said, I really want to program you for go buy a red light device, use it every day. Here's how long I want you to use it. I want you to go to a hyperbaric clinic and get a hyperbaric chamber treatment once a week. You're not going to believe how much better you feel. But instead, or let these giant hospital systems get those devices into their system if they're so concerned about only relating to you on what makes them money. I don't mind that, but I just would love to see integration, more integrative services, offering you more choices. And that is why I'm going to say I'm with you, Trevor. Health is wealth. Thank you so much for being on. And again, I could talk about this forever because longevity is right there at our fingertips, people. But we from Western medicine are not getting a full picture of how to get that longevity going and enjoy it and enjoy the process of. So you're fascinating. I could talk to you forever.
Thank you so
But,
much, Diane. I appreciate you having me on here.
oh, it was great. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to Too Young to Be Old podcast. The episode may be over, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Diane Gilman, or visit our website, thedianegilman.com. If you like the show, leave us a rating or a review and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And until then, don't forget, age is just a number. Together, we'll prove that we are all too young to be old.